Now.
All right, so I've got one for you. Matt Cook here with Jonathan Green. Jonathan, here's one. My boyfriend almost threw up giving me oral.
Been there.
And my boyfriend and I have been dating for half a year now. And he fingered me and blah, blah, blah. He asked if he could give me oral. I said yes. I had showered that day. Pretty good
How polite
hygiene.
of him to
He's done it
ask.
before. How polite of him to
Permission for
ask,
oral, my
yes.
lady?
And he
I
didn't.
love it.
And then, hey, his face was like disgusted. He said he was close to throwing up. So I told him to stop. Okay. And I asked him later, what happened? He goes, I'm sorry, I just couldn't help it. I don't know. I tried to stop, but my body's reaction, I felt like throwing up. It didn't taste good. Liquid came out. It was disgusting. I was mad at him afterwards, obviously. So, hey, what am I supposed to do? He said he's sorry, but now I feel weird around him. I don't I don't want to break up. He's an amazing guy, but this really screwed up everything. I need advice. And then she said later, she said he explained how, I guess he a little more in depth from his point of view, just been his gag reflex. It tasted bad at the time, unlike other times. He has a sensory issues, maybe. So, what do you make of all this, Jonathan? This is a really interesting question.
I've
I would say most men enjoy going down on a woman. I mean, their girlfriend or wife or whatever. I would hope so, but I guess a lot of them don't. And what do you make of this?
I've been there before where I'm going down on a girl and I start going down and I come right back up because I just,
Yeah.
especially if like she's wearing yoga pants, it can lock in the smell or something. So it
Hmm.
can, listen, you are what you eat. I can tell you absolutely the vegans taste different. That you can tell,
Hmm.
like I've been with the woman from India and you can tell. Same with the woman from Korea. You can tell a little bit. So it's very possible that there's other things going on, right? That she could have medical issues. She could have just eaten something. You can definitely fix it. So I wouldn't, I mean, I love that he's,
She could have a yeast
yeah, there's a
infection.
bunch of things it could be
That's a
other than you're just,
that's a fishy sort of a smell.
yeah, I mean, it can be a lot of things. And the issue is it could be something temporary. It's probably not something permanent, but it also could be, like we've talked about in the past, that you might just be incompatible smell wise. So I would not make it a big deal. I mean, you can't expect him to fight through it. That's not what you really want, right? So,
So people do have. Everybody has different smells. There's a type of signature we each have, which scientists call the MHC, the major histocompatibility complex, which are basically some all kinds of biochemical signature that we have. Just as we sign our names differently, we
is
smell
that where it comes
differently,
from?
we taste differently.
On a woman? No,
From
on her
scientists,
body.
yeah, everybody's. Yeah, it's like we all have these certain things that we're emitting all the time. We're even emitting particles that are similar to viruses, which may be viruses actually, that are normal. And there's just a whole cloud of us that we walk around in. I think that this, to me, the heart of this is sex is something where we get turned on and we don't then have our brains engaged the way we normally do. It's an escape from our intellect, right? If you're into sex, like it's like a reptile brain thing, right? Isn't it? I mean, you're not. It's not logical. You're like the whole beauty of it is that we're not logical. We're animals, and when we're having sex the right way, we're into our animalistic self. And if you see dogs sniff each other's butts and everything, like they don't care. They like all this stuff. Like when we're having sex in that type of a sexual mode, all that stuff is not revolting or disgusting. It's what we just love. The lizard brain loves the smell and the taste of a woman that we are into. And so, yeah, it could be, like you said, she just has some temporary issue.
Is
But I think it is an extraordinary, very, very strong
But is this the
reaction.
first time he's ever gone down on
So,
her?
no, so a few times he has, 3 or 4 times maybe. She said he really liked it once when he said I tasted really good.
Yeah, so
So I don't know what happened the other
she,
3 or 4
yeah,
times when he didn't like how
she
she
needs to keep
tasted.
a food journal. It's the best way to say it. Is that
Yeah.
it sounds to
Okay.
me like
Okay.
it's a one-off thing, and that there's something that happened. It's not a big deal because if he's done it before and it's been fine, this is just a one-off. And it sounds like It sounds like he does it every 6 weeks. Like it sounds like she's not missing that much if he stops doing it. Anyways,
Yeah.
they've been together
Yeah.
6 months. He's done
Yeah.
it 3 times.
Yeah. So yeah. So definitely do it more often. Definitely so. Okay. Well, why don't we get to the next question?
Sure. I found out on Christmas Day that my wife slept with someone unprotected and never told me about it. And this one is we were on a break. And so during the break, she slept with someone. This has been coming up a lot lately. This is the part that I think is interesting. Is like, why does the unprotected part, why is that so important? Like, to me, if you bang my wife, I'm not into it either way, right? Like, either way, it sucks. So I'm not sure. Maybe it's an accelerant. Like that makes it even worse.
Is that the whole story? They were on a break.
It's a short one, which is nice.
Okay.
So we're on a break, and I found that during the
Okay.
break, my wife had unprotected intercourse with someone, and when I found out about it, now I'm like freaking out. But
Okay. So the unprotected part, that's a question. Like,
to
why
me,
is that
that's my
a
question.
bigger
Why
deal
is
than
that
just that she?
included in there? Like, what
Mhm.
difference does that make? Does that make it worse?
Mhm. I always think when people are having an affair that there's an emotional lack in the relationship. There's something that has been going on for some time. She is not into her boy. Is it a boyfriend or husband? Do you know?
Husband, they were on a break, right? That's the thing where you go, "Oh, we're on a break," which means you're broken up, right? Isn't that what a breakup means? That's what.
Oh, is that what they mean? I thought they were like Christmas. I
No,
totally
not Christmas
misunderstood. I
break.
thought
No,
it was
I
like a
think it's like
vacation.
when people like are separated. Isn't that what
Oh,
separated
okay.
means? Like, maybe I don't know.
Yeah, separated means you're technically together, but you're pursuing your own thing. Okay, so they're not an item anymore. So they agreed to have sex with other people, and that the relationship is done. And he has sex unprotected, and she's upset. Well, she has no right to be upset about it if that's the
Yeah.
deal. That's his decision and his judgment.
Do you think that people added to the story hoping to get more sympathy for their side?
Yes. Yeah, I think that they're trying to get indignation, and her girlfriend or his friends, his buddies, are going, "Oh my God, that what a slut that girl." Probably not, but women would say that. Men probably don't say that.
Yeah,
But
I got one for you. I'm gonna die alone.
okay,
I'm 35, a successful professional,
yeah.
own my own house, have friends and hobbies. Heck, I'm even tall, but I'm still a virgin. I've never had a long-term
Oh my
relationship.
gosh, how old again?
35.
35. No
I
relationship.
routinely get
Virgin.
the no
Okay.
chemistry brush off after a first date. I guess I'm just relationship helium
hmm
because I don't have chemistry with anyone. That's a sophisticated joke. I had to read it 3 times to understand that when I was prepping.
Helium is an element that doesn't
I
combine with
know,
any other. It's
but
a
I didn't
noble
get it
gas.
at first because I usually think
Yes.
a relationship kryptonite or something.
Yeah, he's a chemist.
I just went on.
He could have been relationship xenon, which is a noble gas that does combine
Wow,
with
very
some
clever.
things, but it's explosive.
Yeah.
Okay.
Heck, listen to this. I went on 2 dates with a woman, had arranged a third over the holidays, but out of the blue, she texted me to say she's thought about it and decided we aren't compatible. I don't blame her. She's in good company with every other woman I thought I had a connection with. I don't think they're wrong, so I must be. And no, I don't need to join a church or a dance class to meet women. Jesus is not going to be my wingman,
Okay.
and I've got 2 left.
He's meeting them. He's meeting women. His problem is he goes on lots of first dates, never
I
a
can meet
second
women.
date.
I can ask them out and get a yes. I just can't get them to find me attractive enough to pass that. There's something off about me. The only answer I've gotten to what that is that I don't seem confident. I guess that makes it a circular problem since lifelong rejection leads to low confidence, and low confidence leads to lifetime rejection. I know this is supremely self-pitying. I just need to scream it out into the void.
Okay. Okay, so I would just say, bottom line is you suck at dating. So you need to look at dating as a skill, and you need to get better at it because what you're doing is putting women off, and you need to get better at first dates so you don't put them off. And I think people I just want to be myself. I don't want to, try to be someone I'm not. That's what
No
they
one likes
say
your type.
when they're.
That's the person no one likes. Don't be him.
Well, they don't know.
So
when you meet somebody, you're like the cover of a book, okay? Because they don't know what's in the book. You have to get them to open the book and go through it enough, and they don't like the cover, so they're not going through the book, okay? So you have to change the cover, how you look, how you behave, how you act on the first date, and people hate looking at dating as a skill because they pretend that they just want to be themselves, but being yourself is not going to get you past the first date. And so I think the first thing is taking responsibility for being really crappy at dating instead of like, it's just something about me. No, it's your behavior. It's not who you are, it's what you do that is not good on your dating. Do you have another view of this or do you agree with me on this
I
completely?
think you've got part of it. But here's something else I was thinking about recently is that every time you see people that are really obese and they're on those shows and they tell the doctor how much they eat, they
Hmm.
always lie. So I was like, oh, I don't eat more than
Hmm.
anyone else. I'm guilty of this too. As someone who's chubby, I say that about myself all the time, and I keep a food journal and stuff. And it's like I don't think I eat as much as I should for my weight, but it doesn't matter, right? So I'm like, oh, everyone lies, so I must be lying to myself, right? So I wonder here when he says I go on a lot of dates, if it's at because his
Hmm.
definition of a lot of dates, it's like, what does that mean? The average man goes on, I think, 2 dates a year with a new woman, so two new meets a new woman every 6 months. So this guy might mean, oh, I go on 3 dates a month or 7 dates a year, right? Maybe I meet one woman a month. If you want to, for me to get good at dating, I had to go on 15 to 20 dates a week for
Hmm.
months. So,
Well, I think that's a bar that nobody. You became a dating coach. You got
well,
really
I
into
just
it.
had
You're
to go.
like an
I was.
aficionado, but we
It
can't
took me
expect
about a
normal people to
hundred
be like
first
that.
dates to get good at it. So let's say you're going on one every 6 months. That means two a year. It takes you 50 years to get good. If you're going on one a
Hmm.
month, it's going to take you 10 years. If you're going
Hmm.
on one a week, it's still going to take you 2 years. If you're like me, if you're as bad as me,
Hmm.
and you have to
Hmm.
approach it tactically. Some of the things he's saying are signs he's self-sabotaging, right? Like, I'm not going to go to church. I'm not going to learn dancing. He's already making rule for a virgin. Here's an idea.
Hmm.
You're a virgin. Why don't you shut up and do
Hmm.
whatever it takes, right? Why don't you use the old Marine
Hmm.
motto of overcome, adapt and overcome? I don't think if you're 35 and no one's ever kissed you or touched you, your first idea should be, well, here's the things I won't do. When I was,
Well, yeah, it's again, it's your behavior. You're
it's,
behaving badly,
I
so
think
you're
it's
not
a
getting dates,
personality
and you're
flaw. I
behaving.
think it's a
Yeah.
personality flaw, which is that, well, I want this, but there's things I'm not going to do because I'm sure the list of things he refuses to do is longer than that. So I will just
Hmm.
say the thing about first dates is that everything you see in movies is a lie, and the most people approach first dates. They go to a place they've never been before, like a restaurant you've never been before, and then you have no idea what you're going to talk
Hmm.
about. So it's completely random, and you're hoping that a bunch of
Hmm.
random variables pop up lottery numbers. That's how most people approach dating. So you don't have to
Yeah.
change your personality
Buying lottery
so much
tickets.
as figure out which stories are interesting and which stories are boring to women. Which questions are interesting.
Let me ask you this: one thing. Let's say you're advising him to do one thing differently on his first date. What would that be?
Always take women to the same on the same first date. So build a perfect first date. So I would go to the same restaurant
Build a first date.
every single and
Okay.
it does or I wouldn't do a restaurant, but if you have to do a restaurant, I would always be the same restaurant so that I know all the waiters, so I know all the staff, so I know how the things work, I know where the bathroom is
Okay.
because I want to control the environment.
So you know what mine would be? Mine would be getting physical on the
Yeah,
date.
I'm into that.
I don't think he's getting physical.
Oh
What's that?
yeah, he's definitely not.
He's not getting physical. So he's like a brother or a roommate. That's what they're saying.
Now this is interesting. So there's this when women want to kiss a guy, they start sending the signal, and it lasts for about 20 minutes. You have a 20-minute window to give for the first kiss. At the beginning, she's like, I wonder if
Wow.
he's going to kiss me. And then she starts to think, I want him to kiss me. And then she starts thinking, is he going to kiss me? Why doesn't he want to kiss me? Does he think he's better than
Something's
me?
wrong with yeah.
I hate him. I never want to kiss him.
Then there's
But
anger.
because
Now
you
there's
don't
anger.
want to
Yeah.
admit that I like him and he doesn't like me. So you replace your desire with disgust or dislike. And that may be what's happening as well, right? Because he's not taking physical action, he's missing the signals. Because
Right.
he's waiting for. I used to wait for like a woman to shoot a flare in the sky. Like, what's the signal you want to be kissed? I'm like, you have a flare gun with you?
Hmm.
Anything less than that, I'm not going to kiss.
It's way too late.
So
Yeah.
he may be, because he may be someone who is missing social cues. I don't know how to say he probably is, right? And social cues are
Yeah.
very, very hard. This is something that took me a really long time. I used to say to women, I said, listen, if you give me a subtle hint, I will miss it. If you want me to take you somewhere on your birthday, you have to be very clear.
Well, women think they're giving you hints all the
Hints
time,
don't work.
and they're not picked up by men.
Here's
Yeah,
here's a
they
type
just
of
don't
hint.
think that men
If
are
you want to
picking
get
them
your
up.
birthday present, you order it from Amazon and you wrap it and then you write "from me" on it. That's how you get what you want for Christmas. That's what you have to do sometimes. What's tricky is that sometimes we want the other person to do the behavior we want, and we want them to guess what behavior we want them to do, and that's really hard.
Well, women want to pretend that they're being seduced, that it's not their idea. They want the man to be a bit
Yeah.
assertive, and I would guarantee you, Jonathan, he's not being assertive on that date. And he should be leaning in and trying to give her a kiss and touching
Well,
her, and one leads to another, and he's not. He's just not escalating physically.
part of it is that I think as you get older, it just gets harder because you have more and more years of a bad habit and a belief system.
You have more
Yeah,
rejections.
like you're 27, it's tough. 35, it's tougher. I mean, he doesn't say never kiss. He just does say virgin. But I mean,
I think we're going to see more and more of this because
oh yeah,
perhaps a lot more because women are so being gaslighted about how wonderful they are when they're young and how they don't have to worry. I've actually got a
I
question
love it.
on
Fire it
that
away.
here, and this is the one. There's a crisis going on today in which most women are not able to pair bond with a man. Pair bonding is a psychological term for really being into a particular person. We once had a housekeeper and we had a dog that got sick. And she said, "Why don't you get a new dog? That one's sick." And like, she doesn't understand pair bonding.
Well,
Like, no, we like this dog. We like this woman.
well, I
That's
don't
pair
think you should
bonding.
pair bond to a
So,
dog. But that's the other
not to a
problem.
dog. That was just that was an
That's true,
example. So the person writing this says this includes dating apps, social media, feminism are all contributing factors. High body counts, casual hookups are having a devastating effect on women. When a woman's body count starts to reach in the double digits, they become imprinted with every man they become intimate with. I don't really understand that. And this doesn't include the dates where nothing sexual happens. So women become desensitized. This I agree with. And will sabotage relationship or cheat. There was a woman on YouTube had 400 dates in 3 years, and she didn't find a single guy that she liked. Okay, not pair bonding. So to add to that, women find that most men are unattractive, and since 2019, men looking for casual dates or relationship is down 50%. I don't know if that's true, but that's what he says. He said over 30% of men 19 to 26 haven't had sex with a woman ever. Ever. And he said by the year 2030, over 40% of women will be single and not have a child. There's an epidemic of lonely males in America. There's no way out of this dilemma. What do you think about what he's saying?
So there's two ways to hear that. One way to hear that is like, oh, we're doomed. And the other way to hear that is there's a huge opportunity for any guy that's willing to take a little action. I see this as
Yeah.
there are so many guys who are playing video games and having AI girlfriends and hoping that they make sexy robots, that the opportunity for any guy who wants more than that is huge. Because if you
Right.
look at me, I'm at best a regular middle of the road looking guy. Most people usually say something meaner. Nobody looks at me and goes, oh, that guy's been with hundreds of women, right? I've dated supermodels and famous women. Of course not. Like, you wouldn't think that. But the confidence usually just means asking. Like, the number of women who will sleep with you, hey, do you want to sleep with me, is an astounding number. So confidence is a lot less than you think. So I understand why all those things are happening. I understand that we've created a culture that makes it a lot harder because now everyone's afraid of being accused of something. Everyone's afraid of being trapped in a dangerous situation. And women and men are both making a lot of bad decisions. It's not women all on their own. We've reached a phase where everyone blames women
No.
for everything bad they do. It's like, listen, oh, the woman slept with 500 guys. 500 guys also slept with her. So, right, the whole thing,
But not at the same time.
hilarious. You just, but this whole thing of like blaming women for everything, it's like, it's a mindset that is a killer.
It's a loser mindset because if you blame someone else for what you're doing, you're not going to be taking responsibility and therefore you're not fixing the issue. You have to be responsible and then you can fix it. Like we just had the guy who never had sex or never had a successful date. He's 35 years old. It's his behavior that's the problem. If you're a guy and you're a young guy and you want to meet women, don't start going to those YouTube sites where they all complain about how awful women are. then you're just going to go into that mindset yourself. You are the people around you and what you read, what you see. So you don't want to put those thoughts and those videos into your mind. You want to do things like what we're doing. Learn how all these dysfunctional, awful relationships work and how to avoid them. And we'll give you good advice about how to meet women. And you're not going to be one of those, guys, loser guys that's on YouTube complaining, or this woman that's 500 guys and she's
You
complaining. It's their behavior that's wrong. It's not anything
and you can
else.
start at any time, right? You can start right
Yeah,
now. I started at 27. I didn't start young. I didn't figure anything out. I had
yeah,
all the bad stuff happen to me, and it's easy to if you're blaming women or blaming other people or blaming God, that means you can't fix it. If the problem was created by someone else, the solution has to come from someone else. So you have to take responsibility for your
yeah,
destiny. And I think the opportunity for men right now is really actually bright, because you're going to see what's
yeah.
happening is I think a lot of women are going to see, as because there's all these women that are going to be hit 40, hit single, and be like, nobody wants me. I don't have kids. Like, I've been tricked. I'm really disappointed. I missed my opportunity. And, I feel bad for them. I don't think that's cool. I think that sucks. But a lot of young women are going to see that and go, whoa. And there's going to be, I think, a cultural shift. Usually culture shifts through liberals and back to conservatives. I think it's going to shift back to people like, oh, I want relationships. Like,
Yeah. Another thing that's really essential now is that you start looking around you when you go on an errand or you go to the supermarket. Look around you and start approaching women and just chatting with women in
just
person.
don't make it.
There's so much potential
Yeah,
available
just
in
talk
this
to
right now.
everyone. Here's the secret. Don't only talk to women, because that feels weird. But
Yeah.
if you just talk to everyone, then it's not a
Talk
big
to
deal.
everyone.
Like, just talk to the person at the
Yeah.
checkout counter, then the person in line behind you all the time.
The person in line. Oh, you're like chatty Cathy here.
90,
Okay. Just chat with everybody.
90% of my opportunities came from lines. So when I'll go to a bar. I always go in the longest. I always
Yeah.
get in line behind women,
Good
and it's always a
idea.
longer line because women order slow. All these other guys are going to the short line. I'm like, yeah, I'll be here because I'm in the line, and often you don't have to do it.
I know. Is that a female thing? I noticed that women order really slowly. I know they've had the menu the whole time they've been in line, but then they get to order and it's like,
I mean, yeah,
um,
well, yes, because men only once you have a drink, you always drink the same thing over and over again. Like, I wouldn't go out and have six different drinks on the same night. Would you?
I might, but I decide quickly. You know what I've done? I've decided I would be decisive. So when I get a menu, I
I
I
mean, you
make a
would go to a
decision, and that
bar and have
spills
like a
out into
glass of
everything in my
wine
life.
and then
I
a
make
classy
fast
navel and then an
decisions.
Irish car bomb, like that. You would just go different each time.
Sounds like you
Well,
get
that's what I
sick.
mean. So women will do that more because they're more adventurous in a
Okay.
way. Whereas, man, once you have a drink, like a guy who drinks a Jack and Coke always drinks a Jack and Coke. And if you bring him a vodka Coke, he's like, "What is this? Disgusting." Or Jack and Pepsi, gross. That's what I mean, guys. We whatever we decide we like at 18, we lock in. So, or 21. So I think that's part of it, but it doesn't matter. I also women's bathroom lines are way longer. It's because they're always washing their hands. Men don't waste
So
time
so
doing
get in
that.
lines, talk to everybody that you
Yeah, let's
can,
do that.
smile to people, just have conversation with people, and then ask women out. Because once you start asking women out, it doesn't matter what you say or how you do it. Once you start doing it, it gets easier and easier to do it. And some women will say yes, and they will go out with you.
You,
And I think it's just something that you have to do. There's a thing called that exposure therapy thing. Have
of
you heard of
course.
that? So that's the thing that if you really, really have trouble with this, you can get on a meetup and you can find someone and they go out and they make you go up to a woman and ask, oh, can I kiss you or whatever it is. You'd be surprised. And then you can kind of get
Oh,
over
that's how
some
I
of this
started.
stuff if you have a real problem with it.
That's my first.
Yeah. You started in a group
No,
like
the
that?
very first thing I did. So I read this story about a friend of mine. Now I met him years later. I didn't know him at the time, and he was like, "Oh, what you need to
Okay.
do is where there's a dildo you can attach to your head. Is that you strap it onto your head
Oh,
and you go
obviously.
downtown and you talk to strangers. After about 30 minutes,
Yeah. So it's kind of it kind of gets their
well, no,
attention,
no,
right? A little bit.
no, no, no,
Conversation
no. It's an
starter.
embarrassing. It's to it's to
Of
break
course
your
it is.
embarrassing. It's to give you exposure to embarrassment, because at a certain point you're so embarrassed by that, but then you just get over it. It's why those people.
Yeah. So that's a form of
Yeah.
exposure
So
therapy.
what I did was, and that's how I got really like well known, because I wrote a blog post about it because I couldn't believe it worked. I had a pair of angel wings from an ex girlfriend that like was in my stuff for some reason, like these white wings,
Don't we
and
all?
so I put them on under my jacket and then went to this birthday party I was invited to. Okay. And it's in outside London, but it's like really cold. And the thing about England is that it's really cold outside, really hot inside. So it's like a 30-degree differential. So you go inside and I'm just sweating. The wings are under my jacket.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
Oh, okay. They couldn't
no, no,
see
no.
them.
They're under my jacket. And I'm thinking about it. And I go, you got to do it. You got to do it. You got to do it. And I'm like, really? And I'm so
Yeah.
hot. I finally pop them out. And this guy I'm friends with goes, F this. And never spoke to me again. But here's the thing. At that birthday party, the girl who
I don't know this guy.
her hot best friend came home and we slept together. And it was like, I can't believe this worked.
See.
I was
I
so
see.
outside my comfort zone, there was nothing left. I couldn't be more uncomfortable. I peaked. I was like, I couldn't do that. I'm not putting a dildo in it. It's too far.
So I don't want to give people like an
No,
insane, like you have to do
the
something
point
like
is that
wearing a dildo.
my
on your
experience
head.
was I went outside my comfort zone. And once I was there, once I was wearing something I was uncomfortable with, which is angel wings, I looked like a big fat idiot. I no longer was afraid of anything because I couldn't get more uncomfortable. I'd already peaked. I'd maxed out. I was 10 out of 10 in the uncomfortableness and the awkwardness. So the exposure, you just have to find whatever version. I've seen a version of it where you go out with a friend, you give the friend $10, $20 bills of your money, and you get them back each time you talk to a woman. That doesn't work on me. I've never done that one, but I know some people it works for. So you have to find what works for you.
Yeah. You could go together, you can get together these meetup groups where they do meet and then they have these different challenges. You don't necessarily know what they are. And they're usually involving, they involve going out to people saying weird things, asking if a hug. You'd be surprised at how much you can do. And then once you do that, it's easier.
And you have to find what works for you. So
yeah.
it could be something on the spectrum, but you just want to get used to doing things outside your comfort zone, whether it's saying things or talking to people or wearing angel wings or whatever is just a little uncomfortable for you. Because you'll find out that despite the internet telling you that every woman is horrible, 99% of women are amazing. They're really kind and they're really.
So I'm going to also give you something else, Jonathan. I agree with you 100%. They are amazing and you're not going to get too much bad stuff. But I think that a lot of people have FOMO these days. A lot of younger people have fear of missing out. That interferes with their ability to form a relationship or anything. And I think that every time you practice making quick decisions, like I said that I do a quick decision when I look at a menu, every time you make the practice of making quick decisions, you get better at it, and then it overcomes some of your FOMO. And I think that is what keeps people from going out. It keeps people from asking women out. It keeps people frozen in this thing because they're afraid that they're going to be doing something and they'll miss out on something else. And they tend to be very indecisive and alone. So that's my thought about it, actually. I think there's a real tie-in between the two.
That's very interesting. I think that because indecisiveness is so unattractive in and of itself. Like there's nothing worse in anyone. Does this ever happen to you? Your wife says, let's go out to dinner tonight. And you go, great, where do you want to go? And she's like, you choose. And you pick a restaurant, she goes, not there. And you go, okay, what do you want? Italian, Japanese, Mexican, what do you want? Like,
you pick anything you want. Okay, how about X? No, I don't want to eat X.
Yeah.
Well, you said
it's like an unwinnable
game. You said anywhere I want, and then you're knocking down all my suggestions.
The unsolvable riddle.
Yeah, indecisiveness is it's a core problem. That there's a concept called keystone habits, and a keystone habit is something that if you change, everything changes. And I think decisiveness is a keystone habit. And men who are alone are indecisive very often, almost all the time. They can't make a decision.
I'm a big believer in a good decision now is better than a better decision later. A lot of people get caught up and they're like, well, what if I choose the wrong restaurant? What if I ask the wrong girl out? I've done that before. Like I've walked to two women. I walked up and here's one of my old lines. I was like, I learned this from my friend. I go, excuse me, on a scale of 1 to 10, how single is your friend? 1 being so single, thank God I walked over before she killed herself. 10, she's in a serious relationship and she's never thought about cheating until I walked up. Every time I do that and I ask a woman about her friend, I always end up liking the woman I asked first. But I've already tanked myself. I've already ruined it because I've asked her about her friend and I go, oh, your friend's terrible. Now I like you, but it's too late. Yeah. So you just try to say really silly things and just get outside your comfort zone and make fast decisions because no decision is always worse than a bad decision, right? So
yeah, exactly. When I learned how to cook, I decided that I didn't want to have to measure. I wanted to be able to eye things like teaspoons, tablespoons. And so I did learn that. And that's what I ended up doing. And it's like if you end up just saying anything you want, just uttering whatever comes to your mind, eventually you'll be really good at that. You'll get really good at that and you'll be very interesting and charming to women because you never know what you're going to say and they never know what you're going to say, and that's really cool and exciting. So you just have to blurt out something and not be in your head. And even if it's really stupid, that's how you learn. So, what's the next
All
question
right.
we have?
I accidentally unmatched with someone great. Should I still show up on our planned date? I was talking to someone really lovely, a guy named Andrew, who, like me, was looking for a
Mhm.
serious relationship. We planned a date, sushi on the 28th. I accidentally unmatched him, but I hadn't gotten his number because I wanted to meet in person first just to be safe. I still really want to go on the date with him. I tried posting, like,
We'll just match him again. I don't understand.
should I show up? And it's like, what do you mean? What are the, this is the question to me. If you're matched with someone you want to date and then they unmatch you and they said, I'm not giving my phone number until we meet in person, and then they unmatch you, would you show up at the date? No,
No,
no. I just love that one. She
that's
did solve it.
ridiculous.
She goes, I deleted my account, created a new one, refound him by swiping everyone and matched him and connected. I mean, like,
Yeah, it just shows you the lengths that someone is willing to go for
there,
love.
yes. This,
Remember that. This is a very big takeaway right here. She deleted her account, starts a new account, goes through lots and lots of guys just to find this person that she liked.
when
Just think
women
about
like a
that.
guy, they will, all that stuff of she's too busy. Anytime a woman is, it's, the question is she too busy if it's Brad Pitt or whatever movie star you want to pick? What if she's younger, maybe younger movie star, right?
Yeah,
And that's the difference. It's like not really. Because even for me, right, there are certain things that I'm busy right now. I'm on this call with you, but there are certain
yeah.
things I'm like, hey, I gotta go.
Well, let's say Elon Musk called you. Okay, you'd probably take the call, and I wouldn't be offended.
Yeah, I have a policy with billionaires is that I always answer because if you
Okay,
don't, they can
okay,
send someone to make
okay.
you answer. So yeah, like
All right. Yeah. So the point is, you remember this. This woman who went to such great lengths to go out with a guy she doesn't even know, and you think about that because this is really incredibly important takeaway. How much women are willing to do, and next time she says that she's too busy, you know what too busy means. It doesn't mean she's too
it
busy.
means you're
That's a
not
hint.
important.
She's too busy for you, but she's not too busy for someone else.
Yeah, a lot of guys complain about women flaking, which is where they cancel plans last minute or don't show up, but that's what that means.
Right.
And the reason that happens is because they got a better offer. They have
Yeah.
most women on a Saturday night. What they do is they look at all of their options. They'll have like like a date here and this and that, and they'll just choose. Oh, I go
Yeah.
one date with this guy.
Well, I think what the reason it happens is you didn't sink the hooks in enough
Yeah,
strongly enough where she really wants to go out with
you're
you.
not.
Yeah. I had a interesting incident this week. I had somebody that I was going to hire to do some work around our office, and she was supposed to show up at 11:30, and
Oh
11:30
my god.
comes, and she's not here. And I get a text. She says, "Oh, I stuck in traffic, whatever." I said, "Don't show up. We're
Yeah.
done." Okay. And she says, "Really?" I go, "Yes, that's the end of this." And the reason is because, 11:30 means 11:30 to me. And if somebody's on the very first date's not going to be there or going to be late, I don't want to find out how late they're going to be on the second or the third. And just because it's an employment situation doesn't mean it doesn't apply to dating. It applies to everything. You have to have a sense of your own value and be valuable. And I think that's the key for women to see you as valuable when you see yourself as valuable.
Yeah.
I think that's a real critical thing today. A lot of men don't see themselves as valuable. Their women don't want to go out with them, and they find better offers from a guy who thinks they're more valuable. How do you make yourself more valuable as a man?
So there's a couple of areas. The first is confidence. So the reason most men have no confidence is because we feel like we're not in control of anything. I can't control if women like me. I can't control
Right.
my job. My boss controls my job. I can't control my apartment I rented. So if you have that mindset, it's all connected. You feel like you're untethered. You're a boat that's not
Okay.
attached to anything. So my philosophy
Right.
has always been this is what I've always believed for like the last 15 years I've been teaching this is that you start with a small
Mm-hmm.
room. I like to you clean your bathroom so that no matter what happens, you know
Mm-hmm.
that the bathroom looks awesome. You come home from work, you walk in there, the bathroom
Mm-hmm.
looks good, right? You leave for work, you know that you're at work. You go, I know whatever else in the world. There's one thing I know that the bathroom is in. That if a girl comes over,
Okay.
she'll see that toilet and not leave because it won't gross her out. That's the first.
In fact, you want to tell her to go into the
Yeah,
bathroom. Okay. As soon as she gets to the
you
front
got to see
door,
the
send her into
bathroom,
the
and
bathroom.
then you do. Well, then it expands.
Got to see
Then you
this.
do your bedroom. Then you do the hallway to
Yeah.
your bedroom, so you can go through the front door to your bedroom, the bathroom. Then you do like you expand, but it starts with the bathroom. Then you do your car.
Yeah.
The number of guys whose cars are gross, it's like, what are you thinking? And then they
Hmm.
clean the car when they have a date. I used to be like this in high school. Oh, I have a date. I'm going to clean the car. It's like your car should always be
Me
ready.
too.
You have to be, because the reason you're not ready is you're expecting no chance of success. If you don't have a condom,
You're expecting
if you don't have a
failure.
condom in your pocket right now,
Yeah.
you're not expecting sex, right? You're expecting to not need it. So it's the Cub Scout always be prepared thing, right? So if you're training your mind, because the way you train is the way you'll act on the field. Perfect practice makes perfect. That's the secret.
Hmm.
So you have to act like it's always a possibility, and then it becomes more likely. So that's where your confidence comes from, people. And then it's you do things that make you more attractive. You can change your there's a huge amount of science about your face shape and your haircut. My uncle was a genius. And he used to say, I see these women with the most beautiful haircuts, and then they have a pair of glasses that make them look like a cow. They went to the optometrist and they gave them a pair of glasses that doesn't fit their face, and it makes them look terrible, and I hate it so much. I thought it was so interesting because I never thought about that, but there's not every pair of glasses looks right on every person. So people have a heart shape or a diamond shape or whatever, right? And it's the same thing for your hair. And then are you a warm or cool tones or spring or summer tones? There's a lot you can do.
Okay, so all that is good, and I think hair, like we've talked about, you go to a really really good hairstylist once. You pay a lot of money, you get a really great haircut, take photos of it, and then bring it to your supercuts
Yeah.
person the next time around or whatever, you know. But the thing you could do immediately that has a tremendous effect on increasing your value is by basically putting your stomach in a little bit, not a huge amount, standing up straight, putting your head up, not excessively, but like if there's a balloon that's pulling your head up slightly, I think that's a good way of visualizing it, a balloon. That makes you much, much bigger. And then you walk like, spread your arm, a little bit of a swagger, how you walk, okay? This body language is very powerful testosterone producing body language, which makes you feel and act more valuable. And it just takes a moment.
You're not wrong. Posture's always been hard for me. I got a new one for you.
Okay?
This man and woman, if they're married, they're in their 30s. They're part of a group of friends with two other couples, and the other two couples both split up. And then one pair got together, and then they're having a baby. And the wife is like, I will not be friends with them. I hate them. You have to choose me or
Hmm.
them. And there's all the internal workings of why the two other relationships didn't work out, right? But it's like the wife has made it the hill she's willing to die on. She's like, I do not want those people in my life, da da da. And what
Hmm.
do you think is the right move here? Because there's the school of thought, which is I have to side with my wife no matter what because she's the person I live with. And then the other side is these are my friends. How can I convince my wife to come over to the side?
I think it's interesting that the wife is laying down the law, pretty much saying, if you're still friends with those people, I'm going to leave. Isn't that kind of what she's saying?
Feels like it.
She's saying that this is it. Yeah. So I feel that that's probably a good reason to lose her anyway.
Yeah. Isn't
Something
there
wrong with
isn't there
her,
another wife in the friend
really.
group you can go date, right? Because isn't there one wife left? There's three couples. I
Yeah.
mean,
Yeah, you got another one there. I mean, really, that's a very serious problem when a woman lays down the law like that, and it's awfully stupid to die on this particular hill for this particular stupid reason. On the other hand, if it were me, I probably would just give up those people and say, okay, it's fine. If you feel that that's important to you, since I love you, I
yeah,
will.
it's so I want my wife to support me even when I'm wrong, right? Like if I'm in a restaurant making a scene, I
Yeah,
want her to storm out with
yeah,
me. So, and this is
right.
the price for that. I think that the wife is like, listen, their relationship's built on a foundation of cheating or adultery or whatever, and I don't want that around us and it contagious. Fine.
Hmm.
And I
Sure.
also, I mean, to me, having like once you're married, your friend groups change. Like I don't know, it's strange to me to be like, well, these are we've always been the three couples, but then this couple just because this couple broke up and then turned into a new couple doesn't mean we stop being friends. Here's what I know. Here's a lesson I learned. This is the biggest lesson.
You get couples friends
When I
sometimes.
was in my 20s, I knew that I found out that a girl's boyfriend was cheating on her. My friend was the one who found out, and he told me, and he goes, I was like, what are you going to do? He
Right.
goes, not say any. He goes, I'll never say anything. Because I told the girl, because I was like, oh, you're supposed to do the right thing. I tell you what, that was a huge mistake. All that she did was stop being friends with me and just believe the
Right.
guy when he said, I'm not cheating on you. So
I mean, the other side of it is your friend will say, "Well, why didn't you tell me that
you
she was
what
cheating on me and
there's
you knew
nothing
all
you
this
can do
time?"
once you know that two people you're friends with, one of them's
Yeah.
cheating on the other. Your friendship is over with both of them. You're in a no-win scenario. You're gonna lose.
So this is kind of like the wake that you leave, like a boat of cheating. It leaves this horrible thing
Yeah,
behind
you
it.
have this huge.
But I also think there's a lot of friendships aren't really friendships when it comes to couples. They're couple friendships,
Yeah,
right? I don't know if you have this in your marriage. You get together people because your wife likes the wife, but you get together. You know,
she
do you have
doesn't.
that?
She usually doesn't. It's usually I like the husband, and she's like, I don't like the wife. I know what you're talking
Well,
about.
in any
Yeah,
case, we do that mostly because we're like normal
yeah.
people,
I
you
mean,
know.
you and that's the thing is that it's like, so for me,
And so I don't necessarily have anything to talk about with a husband too much. I mean, it's fine. We're
yeah,
companions. Well, it's okay. We'll have a drink or a cigar together, but I wouldn't be my friend if it wasn't my wife being
you don't
friends
like
with
have them over.
the
You
wife,
don't
you
hang
know?
out if the wife's not there. Yeah,
Never. It's because it's not really my friend. It's a couple's friend. I have my own friends that are my friends, and they're not couple friends, and she has some friends
yeah.
too like
That's
that.
what I'm. That
They're
maybe
women.
that's what I mean is that like
Yeah.
I would never like I'm friends with you, but I wouldn't hang out me, my wife, you, and your wife. That would be weird because it would create a scenario where they have to talk to each other. And I'm like, what's the point of creating that?
Yeah, and they're probably exactly. But the other side of it is women are tend to be more social than men, and the women will they want couple friends. Like I'm glad my wife has couple friends, and I'm happy to participate because she needs friends and she needs
Yeah.
couple friends, and it doesn't matter to me if I don't relate so much to the guy. I don't care that much.
How about this one? My girlfriend slept with another guy after we started dating, and I just found out about it. I'm a 21-year-old man. She's a 20-year-old female. I met my new girlfriend while I was out at a club, and we hit it off, and she ended up giving me her number. A few days texting back and forth. We went on a fantastic date and really clicked by her own admittance. I love when people say stuff like that. Like, she confessed she had a good time.
I like admittance.
Yeah.
It's a good
We had
word.
another date
Yeah.
during the same week, which also went really well. She asked me to an event. It was about 3 weeks out, so I thought she was really committed to me from the beginning. So they go on 2 dates, and she
Hmm?
says, "Let's go out again in 3 weeks." And turns out 2 days.
What about the other? What about the 3 weeks
Well,
between now
that's
and the
what
date? I mean, what
two
about dates
two
then?
days after our second date, she slept with another guy she had seen one other time.
And she has perfect right
For
to.
close to 4 months now, and I just found out about this, and it hurts a lot. While we weren't officially together, I love when people say officially. No, that means you weren't together. There's no officially, right? We based our anniversary. Oh, listen to this. We based our anniversary on when we started dating. So knowing this, it feels like that day is a sham. You've been together 4 months. You already have an anniversary. Anniversaries are once a year. Like you doing a month anniversary. She's been nothing but loyal since, and everything in our relationship is fantastic. But it does bother me a lot that she went and did this and kept it from me for so long. She should have kept it from him forever. She should have shut her mouth.
Yes, of course she should have. She should never
She's
have
also
told him
really
anything.
beating
Of
herself up
course.
about it, and it feels terrible that she did. Does anyone have any advice I can get over this? Yeah, get over it. So, do
Get
you
over it. Yeah, you don't really have any official.
do you think
You weren't a couple. You weren't in a committed, exclusive relationship at that point, were you? No. So what do you
do you have to
expect?
give every time you start a new relationship a list of all the people you've slept with and how many partners you've had and all of that stuff? I've been with this many people. I've done this many things. I've done that, haven't done that.
No, of course not. It's all your business, not it's not the other person's
I don't
business. It's yours. You
know
don't want to share that information.
how many
No.
people my wife has been with. It's
Why
like
should you? I don't want to
there's
know. I
no
don't care. I
there's
don't want to
no good
hear.
answer, right? There's no answer.
It's nothing
And
good. Nothing good will come of
there's
that
no,
question.
and it's like, why would you? There's no.
But this guy went out twice. Okay, it's not. He doesn't have any right to expect any exclusivity. They didn't
But it's
have an
when we
exclusive
pick our
relationship. So
anniversary.
what's the
Just
problem
change your
here?
anniversary, I guess. Like that's my favorite part. Is like our anniversary
I
feels
I,
like a
I think
sham.
that
I love that.
I think well, your thinking is a sham. Okay, your thinking is a sham because there's nothing. And if you don't get all offended, if you get over your being offended and you just pretend like it's fine, it'll become fine, and she might really dig on you, and you might develop an exclusive
I don't.
relationship. So don't throw it all away by
I
being an
don't
idiot.
think she's his girlfriend now. So unless you
No.
say I want to be exclusive, because I've dated women before who go, I dated this one woman. She goes, I don't want to be exclusive, and I go, okay. And I mean, That was the craziest month of my life. I just hit numbers I never thought were possible because I kept saying it to her. And she was like, "Oh, this guy's so beta," and I was like, "No, I just feel bad because I slept with." That was the month I slept with 30 women in 1 month, and it was a February.
Well, you knew you had a backup all the time, right? It was kind of fun to have something in your
No,
pocket there you could
I
always
no,
go
I
to.
was like, because it's the only thing that will stop me. I was like, I'm not trying to limit you. I'm trying to make it very clear.
But I'm saying it's ideal to have a woman you're dating and having sex with, and it's okay to have it with other people because and you're very confident because you know you
Yeah.
have a woman that's waiting
So
for you, and it's very attractive and easy to
yeah.
be
So
confident.
you have to. This is so important. Is you have to codify. We're so afraid to say things like, "Do you want to?
Not in the
Do you want to
second
sleep
date
with
though.
me? Do you want to be my
That's too soon.
girlfriend?" You can just say it. Like it's not. Just say the things you want. Like, hey.
Yeah, I mean, you could. I would say the second date is too soon. I would
Well,
say
no,
what
that's why
happened for
I
those
said
3 weeks. I mean, there's a lot of
I slept with
questions
someone
here.
else because it was
It's
too soon. So
the fact pattern here is not favorable to the guy. But if they had 5 or 6 dates, and he might say, "Hey, you know what? I'd like you to be my girlfriend. I'll be your boyfriend. We'll be exclusive. We won't see other people." What do you think about that? That would be a
you
thing
just
to
have
say at that
you have
point,
to
if
know
that's
as a
how he
man
feels.
that women are always dating multiple guys. Women always have multiple guys on the go, and then they only go exclusive when this guy is like, "Oh, this is a winner from the group." Especially if the more attractive a woman is, the
Hmm.
more shenanigans she has going on. And you guys date, was it one at a time? Is that linear? One after or sequential? And women date all at the same time. So a
Yeah,
guy will a
they're in
guy yeah, a
parallel.
guy will be like, "Oh, I
Women
went
in
on one date with
parallel.
a woman," and he'll start acting exclusive way sooner. That's men are more romantic.
Perfect example. This is a
Yeah.
perfect
So that's
example.
what happens.
Yeah, I always think of it like the stove. Woman has all these pots on the back burners. She got front burners. She's moving the pots around. Each of the guys she's in her life is like one of those
Hmm.
pots. Guys don't look at it that way. Women do.
So here's one I think you're going to find interesting. I'm a 26-year-old woman. My 28-year-old male fiance told me I wouldn't be able to pull anyone else, and I'm offended, which means like attract anyone else. Like you can't get anyone besides me. And so
What?
this is a good one. I like this. This is a good tactic, I think. So the guy says to his fiance, he goes, you can't get anyone else. This is it.
My gosh. I can't imagine anything
Oh,
more
I say
offensive.
that all the time to my wife. Are you kidding me? This is a
Well, for fun.
classic. This is like perfect.
You're having fun with her.
This is no. This is the
I mean,
perfect
seriously.
backfire to set to a backdraft scenario so that you don't have a big fight because this is like a small fight.
Okay. Well, this is your
Yeah, this
petite
is a
fight
perfect little
idea.
fight because of course she's going to get upset, but also you don't you. This is a very confident thing to say, right? Now, obviously,
I would never. It's mean. I
you
don't like
have
to
to.
be
Well,
mean. I wouldn't
obviously, it's
say
all
mean
about tone,
things.
right? This could be said in a way of like, I want to isolate a woman and so that she's addicted to me. Like, it can't be a crazy person thing. I know that, but if you just say it in the right way of like, I'm the best you can do, it's very confident, right?
You'll never have another guy with a 4.5 inch penis.
Yeah, it's just like, listen, you know, I don't want to fully make her really believe it. We just want to be like, listen, this is as good as it gets. Don't waste your time with other guy. Like that's a confident place instead of being like, oh, I'm so nervous because I know any guy who wants you could have you. That's a breakup thing to say. That's the
Oh, I totally agree with you, but I wouldn't be insulting either or offensive. I just think that's offensive. It's unless it's kidding or you're saying it a certain way. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll give you that.
oh, here we
Um,
go.
I'm going to give you
Wait,
some because.
what she did.
Oh, go ahead.
She had a dream about dating a
Okay.
famous actor. When she woke up, she told him. Well, now
Okay.
that's different. See that now it's you done started it. Oh, you had a Brad Pitt dream. Now I got to say something to shut that down. That's a whole new ball game. I got to make sure she doesn't start thinking that dream was a prophecy. So it's not like
Okay.
he said it out of the blue. Here's a secret: don't tell people your dreams. What a dumb move. Just keep that to yourself.
I think it's quite delightful to be interested in your partner's sexual attractions and participate in the fantasy that she might have about other people. I think it could be very, very nice. So, she could tell you about the Brad Pitt dream and it could lead to having a nice
Like you'd
sexual
wear the
escapade,
you wear like a Brad Pitt
whatever.
outfit.
It's like non threatening that way. See, that's the confidence you're talking
Interesting.
about. Great.
Would you wear the
Think
Brad
about.
Pitt outfit or something?
I have the Halloween mask, so that's enough,
Okay.
Here's a weird one for you. This is
All
so
right.
bizarre, but we had a virgin thing, so this is sort of similar, but married
Nice.
28
Still a
years
virgin.
since high school. Still
No.
a virgin. It was rough. Okay. And he says, I stepped out of on my marriage during, I guess that means he cheated. He
Yeah.
stepped out on a marriage. That's the new one on me. Okay. So then she decides to step out. He says, military term, I got jodied. It didn't help she was hanging around single moms going out. So during her stepping out, she became pregnant. Okay. Blah, 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 blah. She hasn't had a steady job. She has a depression.
She became
She's
what?
never stayed on medications. She's very um, mental problems, I guess. And he says, so what do I do now?
So he cheated first.
Yeah.
Turnabout's fair play, man.
And they have such a good marriage that they've never had sex.
Oh, that I thought that was you were joking. Wait, so
It's
they
kind of
were
weird.
together for
No, I wasn't joking. No, 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 no. I'm sorry. That's not true. They were married 28 years.
oh,
Everything was. He
man.
cheated on her. Then she cheats on him. She gets pregnant. That's the story.
I mean,
Okay. So he's wondering what to
well,
do.
isn't it? This is what you get, right? You fire a gun at someone. Don't be surprised when they fire back, right? Turnabout's fair
Yeah.
play, as they say. So it's like you caused this scenario. Now, the pregnant thing, obviously, that's an escalation. She took it a level up. Like, I guess that's why the guy earlier was like, unprotected makes it worse. I mean,
Yeah.
I
That's
think
true.
that now it's a different game because you have another person in play, right? You have the other guy and you have a baby situation. So
Yeah. And
I
a
guess you
baby.
got to
Yeah.
talk to the guy about, I don't know, moving into the guest room, and then you figure out which one of you is going to be the
Yeah.
dad and which one's going to be the husband, and you just you make
Yeah.
it a
I
triangle
agree with you.
relationship.
You have to. If the marriage, a lot of pregnancies end early, but if it continues to term and she has the baby, you have to do what's right for the baby,
So
and
yeah, I mean,
hopefully you will.
if you don't want to be the dad for this baby and it's not your baby, get out now. Like, leave as early as possible. Let this other guy be the dad. If the other guy doesn't want to be the dad, you have to put the baby up for adoption.
Yeah.
There's way more
Yeah.
people that want to adopt than there are babies available for adoption for newborns. So that's like way more.
Okay, I got one for you. This is the one I was thinking about. 36 years in marriage, never had sex with my wife. At first, I wasn't too bothered about it since, it wasn't a worry about pregnancy, but she was unable to allow any penetration when we did try. So we get into her 50s. She's happy to never talk about it again. I thought this was the weirdest thing, but I bet you it's more common than one thinks. Okay, so now I really want a physical bond, but she doesn't want to do it. I think it's a healthy desire and an element of a relationship, but she doesn't feel that way. So what do I do? She doesn't seem to realize the connection between the sexual component and other parts of marriage. She's got a great body, great personality. She looks 20 years younger than she is, as do I. We're in our 50s. I'm an athlete. We're physically active. We have a great setup for sex, but there isn't any. So what do I do? I feel cheated. Yes, you
It's
are cheated. Why would you put up with a relationship like that? Anyway,
so
why would you put up with it for a week, let alone
yeah,
36
it's so
years?
late in the game to bring this up. You know what I mean? It's like she's like, well, for 30 years you haven't wanted this,
Yeah,
and
so late in the game.
sometimes I'm trying to figure out what they do in other stuff. Like, oh, she can't do that, so she's doing hand stuff or blowjobs or. But it sounds like
Hmm.
I'm not.
Sounds like
Yeah,
nothing.
well, I couldn't tell that at first. So I think that here's the deal. You're not gonna ch- change a relationship this deep in.
Well, let,
Jump
let me let
ship.
me just say something on this, okay? Key point. She's closed to this guy. She would not be closed to another guy.
Yeah,
That's the
it's
key
too
point.
late.
Yeah,
You,
but I'm saying that it's not like she's turned off to sex. She's turned off to sex with her husband.
I
That's
think
the point.
husband's
Don't
a
think that
weird
she.
word to use in this situation. As a roommate,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah.
one of them is. I mean, one of them is gay, right? Like this sounds like that type of marriage. Like,
Yeah. I don't understand how anyone can live with a woman.
oh my
Anyway, it's
gosh, I know. I put up with her being mad once a month for an entire week, but I don't get any upside. Yeah, it's
go
very
for it. Yeah.
strange to be
Let's
like,
say a
I'm
day or
in my
two.
50s and now I'm horny. Just get a new wife. It's easier.
Yeah. That's all.
There's a
There's no
certain
option.
point at
There's no
which it's
option.
so much
Yeah.
easier to start over and just than to
Yeah.
try and shift all the baggage
Yeah.
because it's so strange.
But don't ever tell your next girlfriend about this. Never
No,
tell her that. Never tell
Yeah,
anyone
don't tell them
this.
your history or lack of
Yeah, never do.
you.
Mm-mm. Nope.
Yeah, because you're taught, like, I used to ask girls their body count and stuff before I knew better, and then I was like, it's no upside to it
Ugh.
because you're taught that, like, to be like, oh, you want to make
There's
sure you
no.
know someone's not wild. You want to like kind of
Well, anyway, she just lies. So what's it? It
you
doesn't give
take the
you any
number and
information. It
you
makes you
take the
look like a
number a guy
beta
gives
person,
you and you
like you
divide it by
care.
3, and take a number a woman gives you and you multiply it by 3. That's
Yeah, like, why would I care, really? Like, that's my
yeah, you just
attitude. I
don't
don't
know
care.
better, so you're just
I'm,
taught these things by crap magazines, and then you just
yeah. Well, these internet YouTubers are just all over the place. These bitter men telling men on YouTube, they have hundreds of thousands of followers, how awful women are and how their body counts are. It's such negative
yeah,
programming.
it just gets in your head. I got one for you. My girlfriend refuses to pay for anything.
Okay.
We're both 26. I tried to explain to her that we've been together for 6 months and it's not sustainable. I don't make enough money to pay for everything she wants and me.
Hmm.
I cover expenses from tickets to concerts to snacks to Ubers to dinners. Even when we're on a trip to the grocery store, she'll grab a bunch of stuff and throw it in the cart and then expect me to pay. While I've treated her, I'm starting to feel a strain as I can't keep up
Hmm.
with it. And it's different from past relationships, my friends' experiences where things are split more evenly. Recently, this led to disagreements and it creates a sense of distance in our relationship with us spending more time apart. I
Sure.
haven't seen her in 2 weeks, and we keep arguing about this on the phone. She said, "If you're gonna make me pay, I'm good." So if she has to pay for stuff she doesn't want it, and he said, "This is a partnership."
If you have to pay for things, I'm good. I don't really understand what that
I'm not
means.
exactly sure, but it's not a cool way of talking. So whatever it is, it sounds low. It sounds not nice. So one person can't carry the burden. We have to. So he thinks he's in a partnership. Um, how can I say this
Hmm.
gently? You're dating an escort. He's in a financial relationship, not a romantic relationship. And
Yeah. And as soon as he stops paying out the money, she stops wanting
yeah,
to be around him, and that's
he's
the
the
end of it.
sugar daddy, even though they're the same age, because she's like, you have to pay for my chips and all of this, and you have to decide what you're kind of because he's like, oh, my friends and their girlfriends all split everything even. Every relationship's different, whatever. Like my wife doesn't pay for anything. I pay for everything. She doesn't work, but
But here's something that could happen. Okay, you could be dating a woman and she goes through a period of unemployment that's
that's how it is.
temporary, and because you want to go out with her, you go out with her and you pay. That doesn't mean you go to nice places. You go to cheap places. She doesn't put stuff in your basket because she'd be ashamed of doing that. But you may pay so that you can be with her, and you know she doesn't have the money. That's a
No,
different story than this. Does that make sense, Jonathan? Isn't that a different story?
yeah, this is like
This is sugar daddy kind of thing, basically. And it's a low end sugar daddy relationship,
I mean, it's
very
like
low end.
Doritos instead of diamonds, but it's also like he's kind of
Yeah, but same thing.
don't fall. What is it? Don't fall in love with your escort. Is that one? Is that a saying? So
That should be a saying.
yeah,
Yeah.
here's the thing. It's like people. He's like, here's a list of 50 red flags. What should I do? What, leave? You have 50 red flags here. She doesn't sound nice. I don't know. And also, it's like, this is a thing. This is something I went through in my 20s is like, you're seeking a partnership and the woman isn't. So you are trying to create something she doesn't want. Like, she's not looking for a partnership because her behavior is not the behavior of someone who's looking for that. Her behavior is of someone who is a mercenary.
Yeah. Okay. Here's one. I love my wife, but
Uh
it's been
oh.
weird lately. She's been picking fights over the littlest
Oh,
things.
backfire. Now
Um,
I'm interested.
okay, is that surprising? That's something
I
you
start.
were talking about. Yeah, and I'm being made to be the bad guy when I express how I feel hurt about stuff. And now I admit our sex life has been lacking in the last month. Work stressors, financial stressors, overall life has taken over. She's been sniffing my clothes and became accusatory of how my clothes smell like another woman. Today I promised to make love to her when I got home. She was excited, blah, 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 blah. However, um, she accused me of wanting to go back to work early. I'd taken off work early so we could make love, but she said, "Oh, you just want to go back to work early." Okay, so anyway, she starts an argument. Now I'm just not happy. I don't have a social life. I used to smile and joke. Now I'm grouchy. I'm unpleasant. I just don't have fun anymore. Why is this going on every day? I can't believe this is going on. I haven't cheated, but she keeps saying that I have. Part of me wants to leave, but I can't afford it.
So, do you think the wife is having an
Uh,
affair?
yeah, I think so. That's exactly what I was
I would
thinking.
think that, except for she's saying you're not banging me enough. So that's the thing that's throwing me off here. At first, I thought that when she's doing all the
Right.
accusations, but she's like, come home from work, and then she's like, all you're thinking about is work while you're banging me. So it's like kind of a weird one because it sounds like she is not getting her sexual needs met, which we don't get that often. I like this one.
She also may be feeling that he's not emotionally sharing with her
Yeah,
either, and she
this
feels like he's got a life outside of the marriage that she doesn't know about, and she's feeling like she wants to be more of a part of his overall life, and that something's wrong
So
because
for
she
a lot of
isn't.
women, they will use bedroom as a barometer of the relationship. If the bedroom time goes down, they will assume you're not attracted to me anymore or you have someone else. This guy,
Right. Even if
yeah,
the reason has
that's just
nothing
her
to do with
misreading
that.
the situation. This guy, so I don't think she's cheating because she's like demanding more sex. Usually when you're cheating, you
Right.
don't, that's the one thing you don't demand. What this guy needs to fucking smash. Like that's the long and the short of it. This guy needs to just lay the pipe and he needs to just, and it's like, sometimes you just have to do that.
What does laying the pipe mean?
Uh, you lay your pipe inside of her. You have to go like
Oh,
full
okay, got it.
plumber. You
It's
have
a
to go full
euphemism.
plumber. You have to go like
Doing the deed. Okay.
really, you just have to do. That's what's missing here, right? And it's like, oh
You have to have wild, passionate
yeah,
time in the
this guy just
bedroom,
has to
basically.
get his game.
Show her how much you love her
Because she's
physically.
like the fact that she's saying, "Oh, you just want to finish fast and go back to work," is like, and he's
Yeah.
like, "Oh, I want to leave my wife because all she wants to do is bang me." Like, what is wrong with this dude? Like, he's got a good situation. You just gotta.
Well, I think what he's upset about is she's continually accusing
Well,
him of cheating. Cheating, 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 cheating. And so after a while, he's going, what do
no,
I need this for?
wrong
I'm not
answer.
cheating.
I
I'm not
know
getting the
it's
benefits
the
of
wrong
cheating.
answer. He goes, "If I was
Yeah.
cheating on you, could I do this?" That's Luke.
Yeah.
You
In other words, it's
demonstrate. No, I've got three loads
body
in the
language.
chamber. Right? You go, "How can I do back to back?"
Yeah.
Right? We're doing a double header,
Right.
and it's like that's how you know because what she's really
Hmm.
saying because she doesn't think he's cheating. She goes, "That's just a well, you don't have energy for me. You must be spending it
Hmm.
somewhere else." That's kind of what's going on.
Hmm. Yeah. That's a great
I
observation.
love
Okay.
it.
Good one.
That's
Okay.
all
Do you
mine.
have
You have any?
time for one more? Yep. Uh, yeah, I've just
Okay.
got one more here. Um, this is a long-term relationship, 15 years. I noticed that everything was slowly eroding. It was sort of about the kids. It was about this or that. It was like a roommate vibe. And I was always
Okay.
initiating. So we had gotten married when we were young, and we didn't do anything sexually until we were married. But I think that was probably a mistake. Okay. But we don't, either of us have much relationship history or other partners because we got into life together really early and we have a good partnership as far as that goes goals, ambitions, kids, beliefs, values. But there's just no desire, okay, for me on her part. She doesn't
Okay.
want me. And I'm in good shape. I've been 2 years of solid diet, exercise. I'm in great shape. I've got a lot of potential. But whenever we're in bed, she has these rules, these things she won't do, these inhibitions.
Okay.
So even flirty fun doesn't exist anymore. She's mad at innuendos. It's just anything about sex seems to be weird now. And I want to be wanted and I want to change this around. Is there just a basic fundamental incompatibility here where I should just move on?
This is hard because we don't know what the rules are. Like if he's like, "Why won't she do anal?" Right? Or "Why can't I pee on her?" Then right, it's one thing. And she's like, but if the rule
Yeah,
is, no eye contact, that's the opposite end of it, right? Like it's two different. So
yeah.
because we don't know the rules,
We had that at one point. Yeah,
it's like
somebody
if
had
the
that
rule,
question.
she's like, the rules are no kissing, uh, no kissing, no
No
eye
kissing. Yeah.
contact, no talking afterwards. Like you,
See, I'm thinking that let's assume he wants to do
okay.
ordinary things. Maybe she doesn't like to go down on him, for example. Some women don't,
Yeah,
it's
I
like,
think
okay,
it sounds like she doesn't even like innuendo. And again, it depends how good his innuendo is. If he's just innuendo is in her endo, that's his idea of innuendo, we have a problem. It sounds like, um, the solution to me is to demonstrate to her that other women are interested. There's nothing that fires up a woman like seeing another woman, because this happened
right.
this week. This happened like yesterday for us. So my wife ran into some of the other moms from school and went with them to like have a glass of wine at one of the moms' houses. And the other two moms, who my wife described as skinny, say it where this story is going, goes, they go, "Oh, we know your husband," and she flipped out. She goes, "What does that mean?"
Oh.
Now,
Hmm.
their kids go to school with our kids. They knew me because their husbands live abroad or out of town, so they went with their kids to Father's Day. So they saw me at Father's Day with my kid. And I was like, so just to confirm, they know who I am because they saw me on Father's Day. They didn't even talk to me.
So in other words, the accusation, the innuendo is you're
And
having an
she like
affair.
flipped. Yeah, she like went, "What do you mean you know my husband?" It's like our kids go to school together, but she jumped.
She didn't say in the biblical
No, they
sense that
didn't.
she
They weren't
knows
saying
her
that at
husband.
all. They were like, "Oh,
They
I've
said,
met,
"Oh,
yeah,
I know
I've
your
met him.
husband.
I know
Yeah, I
your
know
husband. I
him.
saw him at school where
Yeah,
our
yeah.
kids are in the same class together." But it's I tell you what it plants that seed because it's your woman has to know that it could happen. Because I was like, my response wasn't, "I would never do that." My response was, "How skinny?" You have to be a
You
little
have
bit
to like
dangerous. Not a lot. You don't
exactly,
have to be out there actually doing shenanigans. You
exactly,
have to like,
exactly.
I'm not cheating on you.
Like the worst thing. Okay, the worst thing would be to be like the jealous kind of type. It's like your attitude has to be like, yeah, I could. Other women are on me all the
Yeah,
time.
you just have to
So what?
plant little seeds, and be like, yeah, you know what? Maybe what we just, we got a ruin thing. Maybe it just like maybe I should just download Tinder. Or maybe I don't know. You play around with the idea that fits right to you, but you want to plant the seed that like other women are interested in you. So, and if she can see it, this one of my moves is that I'll often wave to beautiful women when I'm with my wife, and then she'll turn. And you have to do it so you have to time it perfectly so that the woman is not looking at me when I'm waving. So my wife will turn around and see her and be like, "What the?" I'm like, "Oh, just someone I met the other day." And it creates this scenario. So you don't have to do it. You don't have to do anything very sophisticated to create jealousy. It's a lot easier than this guy thinks. You just have to plant enough seed. Not. It just has to be the potential that it could
Cracks
possibly
me up,
happen,
man.
and that's the kind of thing. Or you'll say things like, "Why does that woman keep looking at me?" And she'll turn around. And it's like a really hot woman. Like I just like I
Yeah,
am
that's an easy one.
more than just a life support system for a penis. I'm a man. I'm a person. I'm tired of women objectifying
Yeah,
me. This is
yeah,
the kind of stuff.
yeah.
The more
I'm
you say
wanted.
that and believe it,
Tired.
because what a lot of guys do, they go in a relationship and go, "Okay, I never have to be attracted to another woman again." And when you're not attractive to any woman, you're not attractive to your woman. So you have to let her know. Is like I'll say things like, "If something ever happened to you, how long do you think it would be before I have a new girlfriend?" And then like, you say stuff like that. I'm like, because I mean, I also told her the same thing. I'm like, listen, if something happens to me, I'm like, just wait till after I'm buried before you get a new guy. I was like, just like if you meet someone at the funeral, fine, but like just wait till they finish before you do it.
I'll tell you how I've handled that so differently. It's a different relationship. It's like, well, we're in a more sometimes, there's some serious stuff
Right.
going on in our lives. And, I told my wife, and I mean it, I say, I hope that you find somebody if I pass before you do. And I really hope that you get somebody, because I do. Um, I don't want to. She said I wouldn't want to do that. She said I don't want to be with anybody else. So I'll just be alone. And it's okay. And I'd say no. I want you to find somebody. So we have this
Because
argument,
I would.
but it's a
Yeah.
loving argument. I think you would
Because
agree. It's
sometimes
a
my wife
loving
will be like, well,
argument.
would you stay with me if I got really fat? I'm like, of course not. What? And she's like, would you take care of me if I got this illness or that illness? I'm like,
See, the answer to that is, are you
yeah,
planning on getting
no,
really fat? Don't
yeah.
don't test me.
The answer
Don't
is
don't test me here.
no.
Just
I said
you know,
there's a number in my head that if you hit it, I'm out of here.
I don't really know, but I don't think
Yeah.
we should find out. We might
And
not
she's like,
like
what
it
if I got really sick?
because really, it's true. Women always have to be attractive. Men always have to be attractive. You're in a relationship. Men have more trouble with this than women. You have to maintain you're a little bit of
You
danger
have
and
to.
being attractive. Doesn't matter that you're married or in a relationship.
You just
You
think
still
you're not
have to.
supposed to say the beta thing. Like when my wife was like, if I got really sick, would you take care of me? And I was like, well, how long are you sick? What are the odds of you getting better?
Well,
I'm
how
like,
sick? I
and it's like,
mean,
is
for
this
how
a
long?
disfiguring illness? Like, are your looks gone? So, and it's not. It's not the nicest thing to say, but it means you a little bit dangerous. I would actually, of course, take care of her, right? But I need to plant that hint of maybe I wouldn't, so that she feels like
And I'd say it depends on where you are in your relationship and
it's all
how,
about being dangerous. And it sounds like this guy does that
yeah,
danger,
a little bit
not a
dangerous.
lot. And again, this is all you don't actually do it. You don't actually disfigure your life.
She always has to be
Yeah,
trying, okay? You have to be trying also in your manly, masculine way. You always have to be so that it's never taken for granted because other women want you,
every day, both of
that's the
you
vibe.
have to. So there's one thing: women see relationships as a continuum, like a river. Whereas men see it as an event. It's like, oh, we got married. It's like, no, the relationship every day, you have to be married and do things to be attractive. Every day I have to do things to be a good dad, to be a good husband, to keep my wife attracted. And that's the thing is I know that if I was just super beta, she would lose attraction for me. If I never said these little silly things that I say, her attraction for me would plummet and our marriage would be damaged by it. So it sounds
Well, I know if I stopped making money and I stopped working and I stopped, running a whole successful number of businesses and all that, I don't think my wife would be that interested in me anymore
that's
either.
interesting.
Yeah, because she sees me, I'm a take charge guy running all these different things, and that's very attractive to her. If I just was a guy watching TV all day or
Okay, so
whatever,
I thought you
nope,
meant you would
that's
just
what I mean.
retire and pick a hobby. Oh yeah,
No, no, I think that would be okay. But if I became lazy and watched TV all day, I don't think she'd be attracted to me anymore.
yeah, that makes sense.
Thank you so much. I hope you found this enjoyable as we have, and we'll see you next week on Men's Mayhem. Thank you. Take care.